I mean, 5-0 Liverpool. They look unstoppable, right?
They're playing the best football. They're playing beautiful football. They will win the league, and they deserve to. Oh, Chelsea not so smug anymore, mate. I thought you were in the title race. Oh, it's all gone. It's all gone wrong.
Honestly, as you just get some games where you're just a little bit unlucky. This wasn't one of them. Honestly, that Man United team was terrible. Like, is it worse than it was under Ole?
No, Gary Neville, it's grim. That was grim for Man United. Manchester United, that was grim. Hello and welcome to the Know the Score podcast. My name is Luke Kempner. I'm joined by Harry Daniels. If you didn't know, I am an Arsenal fan. Harry Daniels is a Chelsea fan. We review Gameweek 20 and all the wonderful matches that happened. The wonderful matches at Portman Road, for example. And the wonderful matches that happened at the G-Tech Stadium. We will review everything. It's Happy New Year, Harry. This is the first time I've seen you. Happy New Year.
Yeah, the first thing you've said to me is smug Luke. Great.
Happy New Year, man. Hey, man, I'm just a chill guy. That's
all we are.
Listen, man, we're not even in the title race. We're just going around winning our matches of all our players injured, man. I'm just a chill guy. Did you have a nice New Year? Big celebrations?
I did have a nice New Year, thank you. I don't love New Year. I don't think it's not of all the celebrations out throughout the course of the year. I don't love New Year's Eve.
Okay, man. Okay.
I get too tired. Like, it's a long night for me.
Oh God, yeah, it's a very long night. Yeah.
Do
you wake up with a toddler in the morning? Don't think you do. But
no. Oh God, honestly, you're in such a delightful mood this morning. Anyone who doesn't have a child is not allowed to be tired ever.
They actually aren't. Yeah. And you'll have a child. You and Holly will have a child one day, and then you'll phone me and you go, "Yeah, you were right, man. Why was I ever tired?"
Yeah, but no, I don't mind it. Like, it's fine, but I also think there's just a lot of nothing that goes on New Year's Eve. Like, I much prefer Christmas. Like, over the Christmas period, you get to New Year's, then you get into January, and like, why are we celebrating getting into January? Like, I don't need that. But anyway, I had a nice time. How about you?
I sort of feel the same. I feel like there's a lot of expectation that New Year's Eve has to be this incredible thing, and actually, it's mostly not. I got in from doing 2 shows of Les Miserables, the musical that swept the world, and I got in at like 10:30. Alana was asleep, and I just sat and I warmed up some Kentucky Fried Chicken in the air fryer.
Wow!
So it was Kentucky Fried Air Fried Chicken, KFAFC.
I think it's Kentucky Air Fried Chicken. I don't think you need fried air fried.
But it was twice. I fried it twice.
Kentucky Fried air fried.
Yeah, KF. RAFC, AFC Arsenal, it was really nice, but I don't think it was very nice for my gut. And then I stayed up, and then from where my house is, you can like look over the fields, so I got to see a brilliant array of firework displays. Some who'd spent more money than others, so that was quite nice at midnight. So I watched that, but I agree, I prefer the Christmas stuff compared to New Year's, but I do quite like the New Year's resolutions, new start, and I thought maybe we could do our footballing New Year's resolutions. What do you make of that?
Yeah, go for it. What a segue, honestly.
Oh yeah.
Look at you go.
Yeah, I've been doing this for about 12 years, mate. I didn't just pop on YouTube and go, put Cunha in, and then suddenly become famous. Right. I think my New Year's resolution is for a footballing one is for Arsenal to not be so timid in the transfer market. Right. It's January the 1st. We need an attacker. Everyone's injured. And if they're not injured, they're Kai Havertz and they've got a cold. Right. We've got to go out and no more mucking around. Right. If it comes to defenders, Arteta's like, we'll buy another one. We'll buy another one. We'll buy another one. There's no excuses. Another one. Right. But we've got to do it with attackers. We can't just be going Raheem Sterling on loan. I want to go walk in to Newcastle and say 150 million, Isak, take it or leave it. And then they'll say, we'll leave it. And then you go,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They'll go, no. And you'll be like, well, great. We'll pay Raheem Sterling. Great.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I mean, from a Chelsea point of view, starting the year off with a couple of wins in January would be nice. We've not finished the end of the year particularly well with 2 losses.
Smug.
2 losses in a
you were so smug.
Oh dear.
Fighting for top 4 now.
Yeah. It's all gone downhill really, and everyone else behind us is looking really, really good. And Man City are starting to win games again, so it's going really well.
Steady on. I think that's a bit strong.
They've won
Their
one out of their
last
last
game,
one.
yeah. In the last game,
100%.
they do.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. In their last game, they're unbeaten.
they're
So
absolutely man. They haven't conceded a goal in all of their last game.
yeah.
Yeah, go on.
So mine I mean, that's a Chelsea point of view, but I mean, the thing I hate about football all the moment, and we'll talk about it again this weekend, is like inconsistencies with decisions, and like, I just have people having a little bit of common sense when trying to make decisions in football. It just would be absolutely fantastic. Like we had Duran get banned for 3 games for
Yeah.
falling over and not being able to put his foot. Yet Matej Cunha, who elbowed a man in the head, stole someone's glasses, has been banned for 1 Premier League game. I'm like,
Yeah.
surely someone looks at that and goes, no, like that's not the same. That's not fair. And there are just loads of it with decisions again this weekend. So I just like a little bit of consistency that
Fair.
like I know what I'm going to get when I watch a game of football, and I feel like I don't. And another one will be the Delap dive against Chelsea, but I'm not bitter.
The way you
I'm
say
not
it,
bitter.
oh, you spitting feathers. You're like a little adder with all your poison.
Oh,
He dived. He dived.
he
No,
did.
he left a foot in, and
He
your
didn't leave
keeper
anything
just
in.
your
He just
keeper
threw
just
himself to the floor.
your keeper like I don't know, like picked one of his hairs on his leg, and then he went down. Good pen.
Painful
Great pen.
hair.
Great
Yeah,
pen.
great.
Um, so shall we start? Should we go chronological, or do you want to? Is
Yeah,
there a
let's
big
go
match you want to
chronological.
pick?
No, not really a big match this week.
No, I mean, yeah, no. Spurs, maybe. United's probably the biggest talking point. They were
Yeah,
grim.
let's go
They were,
there. Let's
they were
go there.
grim. I
Yeah.
watched this game. They were grim. The first 20 minutes, that's the worst it's been for Man United. I loved this. I'm sorry. Right, it was Man United Newcastle 2-0.
Mm,
I mean, Gary Neville said it was grim. It was grim. This is the worst
yeah.
it's been for Manchester United. I thought before you start, I thought Gary Neville made a good point when if you looked at the team under Ollie and
Yeah.
like the starting lineup where it was supposed to be, this is the worst it could be under Ollie, right? And if you look at that team, like, and you still had players knocking around like Di Maria and stuff like that, and it's like now you look at it, it's got worse, and they've
It's
spent
got
half a
so much
billion.
worse.
Like it, I wouldn't want any of those players in my team.
No. Oh, they looked all over the place. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, if they didn't have Bruno, which they are a team that do rely on him a lot at the moment. So without him, like naturally, they really struggle for goals when he's not in the team. Not just him scoring, but him creating them as well. So there was that little bit of it, but they were so bad in this game. Newcastle looked so comfortable. Newcastle walked around them. Like the first 20, half an hour, and I think 1 or 2-0 up. It made it look so straightforward. They made it look so. And then we had the whole thing with Xerxes. What do you think about that? I mean, he had been dreadful. Like you watch the game, like he was not. I mean, they were all not great, but there was a lot of times where he was not in that role. Like he didn't play well. He's not a number 10 really. His touch of the ball is not good enough. His passing's not good enough. So I get bringing him off, but the treatment of him after.
Embarrassment. It's embarrassing
Yeah,
for the fans. Like I was in the stadium when the same thing happened to Xhaka when
yeah.
he threw his shirt on the ground and all the rest of it. And basically, he left Arsenal in that moment when he walked off. I mean, thank God
Yeah.
Arteta convinced him to stay, but we were still under Emery at that point. And I was watching that, and I was so embarrassed. I actually DM'd Granit Xhaka and said,
I thought you were going about to say you DM Xerxes.
No. I don't care about him as much. But I DM'd Granit Xhaka at that time and just went, "Hey man, we don't all think that. Some of us think you're great. Thought it was really embarrassing. Keep your head up, man." Because at the end of the day, these are human beings. Some of them are like, I don't know how old Xerxes is, but like these are people in their
Young.
20s.
Yeah.
You know like, how fragile your little ego is in your 20s. You got thick skin like me when you're 37, right? So I don't like it. It's embarrassing for the fans. I know he's bad and he was bad, but like. And I don't, and I suppose the thing is like they're paid an awful lot of money. When I was playing for Manchester United, you take what you're given, you play for Manchester United. Yeah, but I'm sorry, like it's embarrassing. How does that help?
Yeah.
How does that help anything?
No, it
Right?
just makes it more toxic than it already was when they were losing. Like, it doesn't make the situation any better. And like, yeah, okay, they haven't scored, but like, there's still 10 other players on the pitch who are also not playing well enough.
Yeah, I didn't like to see that at all.
No.
But I thought interestingly, after Newcastle were 2-0 up, Man United had some chances. So clearly
Yeah.
bringing Xerxes off did make a bit of a difference. And they had 3 to 4 good chances. Hoyland very close. There was one where they hit the post as well. Like they had some chances. So I don't think it was all, it is doom and gloom, but I think just another day, this doesn't quite go the same way.
Yeah, I find it interesting looking at their team at the moment because you look at it and it's like, who on earth is going to score any goals in that team? And like previously under Amarin, they've sort of played Bruno in midfield with Ahmad at wing back, and that's meant that they've got like Garnacho, Rashford, and a striker. Like even at the moment, like so they took Xerxes off, which basically means that only two attacking players on the pitch are Hoyland and Ahmad, which is not nearly enough. And even when Fernandes is in the team, like Fernandes, Hoyland, Ahmad, just doesn't feel like enough attackers on the pitch.
No.
Like what they're trying to do is put even more defenders on the pitch to stop conceding so many goals, which they're not doing, and then they're just not as good going forward as well. So I'm a bit like, put Ahmad back at wing back, put Fernandes in the midfield, I mean, it kind of depends what's going on with Rashford again, right? But put Garnacho in, put Hoyland in, get a few more attackers back in that team because you're not going to not concede goals anyway, but you're now not scoring goals at the other end of the pitch anyway. And they've got Liverpool up next. I mean, it's going to be a field day.
Well, I interestingly, I've been watching the Alex Ferguson documentary, which is on iPlayer. And if you've not seen it, especially actually for people like you, right? Because I know we have older listeners and viewers, but for those of you who are sort of in your 20s and younger, you should watch the Alex Ferguson documentary because I learned some stuff even about the 80s that I didn't know, as like his time at Aberdeen and why he's so magnificent. But also, it is great to go back and watch that era. And the reason people like myself are so nostalgic about that noughties era of Ferguson and Wenger and the early Mourinho years and stuff like that, there's something so wonderful about it. But interestingly, they were talking about when Ferguson took over in '86, and they say, like when Ferguson took over, Manchester United was very, very different at that time. This was Manchester United that they're the threat of relegation, and I was like, I don't think it's very different at all. It's very much the same, actually. And Amarim actually said afterwards, he said, like, we are in a relegation battle. What did you make of him saying that?
Well, that's wild because Ten Hag wasn't in a relegation battle.
I know. Maybe.
So they've gone backwards.
They have. Like,
what's that? One win in 6?
Yeah, I don't think they're in a relegation battle. That's why I don't think there's much point talking about
They've got a big 6-pointer against Southampton in a couple of weeks.
Crazy, isn't it? But like Liverpool up next. We did our hang on, the predictions. Oh, I've not done that one. Sorry, I was just looking at that. I'd done my predictions and then I thought I haven't done that one. I think Liverpool are going to win 7-0. What do you think? You put 4-0.
I put 4-0.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 7-0.
Do you think Man United won't score?
No.
7-0.
I think it's going to be like.
Do you think he'd get sacked?
No, because it's like they're going to give him the whole season. I mean, unless they really are going to get relegated and they'll bring in Sam Allardyce, but like I really do think it's going to be 7-0. And maybe we should like move on to Liverpool. There's a nice segue from there. But,
a team who looked very, very good.
Well, this is the thing, Liverpool. West Ham had some chances in this game, but it doesn't matter. West Ham could go 2-0 up. I wouldn't be worried if I was a Liverpool fan. No. They are creating chances with no problems whatsoever. Salah is Messi. Salah's playing like Messi, right? Yeah. There is no one better in the world than Mohamed Salah right now. Everything he does is impeccable, magnificent, magical. It's like his assist for the first goal. He does mean it. He does mean it. He just, like, I don't know. I don't even know how to explain what he did. He sort of flicked it through his legs, round his back, over his head, up his bum. It was unbelievable. I don't know how he did it.
Yeah.
And then you combine that with they're about to play Man United, who are the worst team defensively I've seen in years. And also, it's not like Liverpool going to go, let's be a little bit careful. Like Guardiola used to do that bit, let's see how they play.
Yeah.
Like they are going to absolutely go for the jugular here.
Yeah, no, they absolutely are. They looked so good, and it's not just like Salah has been incredible, but like Luis Diaz and Gakpo are both also looking so good at the moment.
And
the question that's been
Jota comes on, scores a brilliant goal, so he's fit now. I wouldn't be surprised if like they've got everyone fit. everyone just comes on fit, ready to go. Like, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be surprised if Prime Ian Rush is suddenly just registers for free and like, and is like 70 odd and can still score goals. Like, maybe not defensively, they're having so many injuries and suspensions and stuff, but like it's up front. They can rotate those front
Yeah.
three.
And
Not Salah, and they're still as good.
I mean, even defensively, like they control games so well that if they don't have Gomez, they've now got Kwanzaa. Like, it's not the end of the world. We thought they were going to go into the beginning of the season with Kwanzaa as their first choice, and now he's third choice. So it's not massively the end of the world. The big debate that's sort of rearing its head again at the moment is Mo Salah the greatest Premier League player of all time? And if the answer is no, what does he need to do to get that? Is he better? Does he have a better Premier League legacy now than Thierry Henry, Cristiano Ronaldo, etc.?
I suppose the difficult thing is that he's only won one Premier League title, and it was in that weird. I've always said that I don't think that it's tarnished by being at the COVID season, because they were on to win it even before COVID happened.
Yeah,
but it's still tarnished in the way that there was no fans in the stadium for the rest of that run. So when they win the league this year, I do think that caps it off. Yes, it'll only be 2 Premier League titles. I do think he'll stay as well, and they might have another chance next year. It's a different era when like Cristiano, and I don't think Cristiano Ronaldo is up there in the conversation because he didn't stay long enough.
Yeah.
But Thierry Henry won 3. This will be 2 for Salah. And his numbers are better than Thierry Henry's, and that's so painful for me to say, because Thierry was just everything wonderful, and he also had, I hate to use it, but the va-va-voom. He had this style and arrogance and the speed, but Salah's got all of this, man. He's unbelievable, and we're very lucky. We're lucky to watch this Liverpool team, and that is painful as an Arsenal fan who is barely in the title race, but. Yeah. They are magnificent. They deserve to win the league. They're playing unbelievable football. And unless Van Dijk gets injured, I cannot see anything other than Liverpool getting enough points to win this league.
I mean, he's got 30 goal involvement so far this season. He's played 18 games of football. Like, it is just wild. 17 goals. A goal a game almost halfway through the Premier League season is just incredible. I think he probably is if they win the Prem this year. If they win the Prem and he goes on at a reasonable sort of record between now and the end of the season, he's got to be up there. There is talk about, this whole new contract. And I'm a bit like, do you think he cares about things like that, like legacy and stuff like that? Or do you think he thinks if he wins it this year, that's enough? Or do you think if he thinks, well, we're playing so well, maybe I'll stay? There's also a lot of talk about what Trent's going to do as well at the moment. Talks of bids coming in from Real Madrid. I'm less confident that Trent will be there now than I was before.
No, Trent's gone. Trent will definitely go to Real Madrid. That's done. He wants to go and play with Jude Bellingham, and fair enough. He's been there since he was 6 years old. Like Trent's gone. Salah's a slightly different thing, because it's like, where does Salah go, right? Like, he's in that sort of like Messi era where he's 34 now. Is that right? 34. Like, he's not going to. It's the end of his career. It's the last 3 to 4 years of his career. Right. So what does he do? Does he want to finish that in Saudi like Ronaldo? Does he want to go and play in the MLS? Does he want to take his family and be somewhere else? Or does he want to carry on at Liverpool? There might be a bit of a decline. And I guess that's what Liverpool are worried about. They don't want to say, yeah, all right, lad, we'll give you £500,000 a week, and you can play for the next 3 years when your legs have gone. Their player never plays better than when they're going for a new contract. I've seen it so many times. Yeah. And I can understand why Liverpool are going, well, I don't know if you want to give you that contract. But what they don't want to do is lose him for free.
Yeah.
So I do think Salah will stay. My question really is about distraction, because as an Arsenal fan, I'm looking at it going, well, Liverpool aren't distracted by any of these contract situations. It looks fine. But does that change things? As do you start seeing players play slightly different when those contract things happen? Does that feed into other players? Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree, actually. I think with the state, with their contracts for Salah, I think it's a massive boost to him. Like, I think he's playing so well, and I think he's partly driven to it. I'm not certain the same thing will be the case for Trent, though. Like, I don't think they're the same camp, because I feel like Trent is more looking like he wants to go, whereas Salah is like, if you pay me the right money, I'm definitely going to stay. Like, there's a difference there, which
And the
means
right years. He wants the years on his
yeah.
contract.
Whereas Salah is like, I'm getting old. Like, let me build my legacy here if you give me the money for it. Trent is like, no, I want to improve my career. I'm in the
Yeah.
prime of my career. I want to go elsewhere. Which means if Trent gets a move halfway through the season, I think it's a negative for Liverpool. But if Salah gets a move or doesn't, I don't think it matters nearly as much because
Do you think Trent will go in January?
no, but I think they might agree it
Yeah,
before
right.
the end
Okay.
of the season.
Yeah.
Because he's in theory allowed to talk to clubs now, as we've
Yeah.
seen. Fabrizio Romano is basically going to tweet 3 times a day, every day for the next 6 months that Trent might go to Madrid, and I am really not very excited for it. But yeah, the other one they've got, of course, is Van Dijk, which there doesn't seem to be that much talk about either. I can't see him going either.
I think he's the most important one to their season because that I don't like the Arsenal are way better defensively than Liverpool, right? But Van Dijk is unbelievable. He's the best centre back in the world right now. He's certainly up there. So, but if he gets injured or
Yeah.
distracted or whatever, then I do think things might, we might see a bit of a change. And there's nothing that more than an attacking team can get confidence by as if your defense is strong,
Yeah.
and if they start conceding a couple of goals, confidence and things can change. I also I expect him to stay the most out of the three of them, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because it's like Van Dijk, he's the legend, man. He's the guy. Get your statue and all the rest of it. Like I don't know. I don't see.
There's
him
also
leaving.
just no talk of him not staying.
No.
Do you know what I mean? He's not linked anywhere. Like Salah and Trent are being asked about it. There's links to them to other clubs. Like there's nothing on Van Dijk really. Like no one's really talking about it. So I would say he'll probably end up staying. I mean, just back to the game. West Ham, Jared Bowen's gone off with a fractured foot. He's going to be out for basically all of January. It's not good for them with some of their games they've got coming up as well. I mean, it's anyone can get torn apart by Liverpool, right? So you can't really judge them based off this game, but they weren't great at all. They created a couple of chances, but there was just nothing really in this game, particularly once Bowen went off. And I mean, their next few games, City, Fulham, Palace, Villa, Chelsea, that they'll be without Bowen in now, they look like a whole different team when he's not in the side. So you've got to worry about them over that run a little bit now.
I really think you can worry about them because, you look at the way Ipswich have had a bit of an upturn in form.
All right.
But Southampton down, Leicester probably down, and I think West Ham, that they are in there because they look so bad. I agree that any team can get torn apart by Liverpool, but they didn't even start well. Like there's no resistance there whatsoever. Like Lopetegui, I don't know how he's still got a job because they are so poor.
Yeah.
I
mean, they're 8 points above the drop. Like, that's a lot at that point of the table. That's the only thing. Like, they could lose their next 10 games and they still would probably not be in the relegation zone. That gap is pretty big. Well, yeah, because it would need everyone else below them to score more points. Maybe not 10, all right, maybe that's an exaggeration. But they could not win until, like, some point in February and they would still be fine. Like when it's Ipswich have got to win 3 games to overtake them. Like that's quite a lot for their at that point of the table. But they went through that little period where they won 2, drew 2, and they got like 8 points, which was quite a big boost, and that is the gap. But if they didn't have such a buffer, I think they would be bang in trouble, I think now.
Well, they're two of the West Ham are certainly one of the teams in the worst, playing the worst football in the worst form. But the two teams that are in the worst form in the league are Leicester, Man City. Now, you go into this game and you're thinking, of course, Man City will win this. Surely they can't lose to Leicester, right? They probably should have done. I don't know what the XG. Have you got the XG there for what this was?
I don't have it for this game, no.
But like,
I can get it up.
Find out what that was because I'd be interested because like Kevin De Bruyne was back. They've also not lost a game when Kevin De Bruyne has played. I know they think they lost the Man United game, but he went off after like 34 minutes or something like that.
All right.
So it's like Kevin De Bruyne is back. They win.
Yeah, Leicester had more XG in this game. It's close, 1.3 versus 1.27. But like,
really, I feel like Leicester could have scored 5 in this game. Like Vardy, if Vardy was like, I don't know, like 6 months younger, like, and he's 38 in a couple of months, like he finishes some more of these chances because he was brilliant. Leicester created a lot of chances. They're rubbish, but they did create a lot of chances. And I don't think you can come out of this game and be like, oh, great, Man City are back.
No.
Because I just think Leicester were a little bit unlucky not to convert some of these chances. Haaland had, he had forced some good saves. Then he got a good finish.
He looked so happy when he scored.
Well, he's just
almost
become
like
a dad.
angry happy.
He's become a dad in recent days.
Has
Now, that was a question I was going to ask you. Is like, do you think? Maybe it should be more me that answers this than you. But do you think that players get affected by this stuff? Now, look, we see them as athletes. We see them as they're paid all this money. But like the human being side of it, you are about to become a father. It's the biggest thing that happens in your life. Do you think that affects them going on the pitch?
I would probably say so. I think his mind's, he's going to be thinking about other things as well while he's playing. There's part of me that thinks maybe it's a motivator that, you now that you've got that, you've got another sort of person to provide for. You've got, you go out there, you celebrate for them and stuff like that. But I think it's probably going to be a distraction. I mean, I don't imagine the big thing when, you have a child, and you will tell me this, of course, is your lack of sleep, right? And I don't think Haaland is suffering from lack of sleep, really.
Well, no, and
I don't think he's up at 3 a.m. doing the feeds.
No, he's not. And they've got enough money to pay for a night nurse, just about. So yeah, maybe not. But I just wondered whether these things do affect players at all, and I think they probably do. I just think we forget sometimes that they're not. Well, I know we always said Haaland is a robot, but it's coincided. The last trimester has coincided with Haaland's bad form.
I think you're clutching.
Maybe the baby's born and he's about to go on a streak. Bring him back in your FPL teams, guys. Haaland's back.
Maybe. Ortega earlier on was incredibly lucky that Vardy was offside. It's an absolutely dreadful bit of goalkeeping. What on earth is he doing?
I love the way he looked at the linesman as well. And he was just like, oh, thank God.
It was like, no, it's fine. And it was marginal, but it was a horrible, horrible bit of goalkeeping. So, they got away with that, and that would have been 1-0 down as well if they'd have scored that penalty, and then things would have looked very, very different. But yeah, like City still didn't look that great. They didn't create like that many chances. Like Leicester created more big chances in this game than City did. 3 big chances to the 2. They had 14 shots, amassing 1 and 1.2 xG. It's just not great. There's just nothing really of a very high chance there. So, I mean, it's great. They've got West Ham at home this week now, of course, without Jarrod Bowen. So maybe they'll get another win. But it's still not them out of the woods because this was not easily a good performance.
But Man City's focus now in the Premier League is just finishing in that top 5, because we're presuming that there's going to be 5 Champions League places, and they're 1 point off that. They're 4 points off 4th. Like, they're going to get into that Champions League slot, surely, and then the rest of it is just focusing on the FA Cup and the Champions League.
What an exciting season! Who'd have thought we'd be saying this in January, that City don't have much to play for in the league. They'll probably just get over the line for the top 5, and then it's not impossible that they don't get over the line in terms of top 5. Like, I don't think that's a given. I think they probably will, but like, just because they beat Leicester and they've got a win doesn't necessarily mean I think they will.
Yeah, true.
Their upcoming fixtures, they've got West Ham at home. Okay, they'll probably beat that, but then they're away at Brentford. All right,
easy.
The fun house over at the GTEC. Ipswich away. Now, we all know going away to Ipswich is an incredibly difficult fixture that only the best teams lose at.
Very tricky. Very tricky.
Then they've got Chelsea, Arsenal, Newcastle, Liverpool. So it's still not nice for them. Like, there's still possibilities that they don't win that many of these games if they keep playing like they do. So I'm not sure it's quite as clear-cut as...
It is mad. Like, if you'd had said to me at the beginning of the season, like I always thought at the beginning of the season, I thought if we can build up 8-10 point lead on Man City at Christmas time, we'll win the league. And we have, as Arsenal. But the trouble is, there's another team that's done much better.
Building up an 8-10 point lead on you lot.
Yeah, exactly. So shall we move on to Chelsea then? Because
go on then.
Come on now. I just I'll never forget your little face. Over the last few weeks, you've just been so smug. And I couldn't believe it. I didn't think we'd be going into this season watching you being smug. And I said to you, Arsenal finish above Chelsea. I'll be honest with you, Harry, I didn't quite believe it when I said it. But turns out I'm definitely right. Chelsea aren't that good. Yeah, go on. You talk us through the pain of going to Portman Road, the fortress,
No,
which
I
is
don't, I
Portman
don't want to
Road.
talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. The first win they've had all season at
Yeah.
home, their second clean sheet of the season. We created almost 2 XG in this game and just failed to score. I think the first thing is, I tweeted before the game. Actually, I tweeted at 70 minutes against Fulham and said, I don't like the subs he's making. He's taken off Jackson, who is big for a hold up. He's bringing on Nkunku. I don't like it. If we lose this game, this will be why. And we lost the game. It's almost like I knew what I was talking about. Anyway, in this game, he not only does silly things like that, he benches Jackson because they played too many minutes apparently, plays Felix, plays Nkunku, swaps our goalkeepers around. Well, this is it. They're not playing too many games to play 3 times a week because they don't do it every week. They do it once every 2 months and that is it. And it absolutely cost us. And Nkunku was dreadful. João Felix was dreadful. Jorgensen, I thought was fine, actually. I don't think it's a penalty. Disasi had an absolutely dreadful game. He was another one that was brought in. Basically, the 4 players that were brought in for the rotation all cost us the game because he decides that players can't play 3 times a week. And that was, I tweeted before the game, if we don't win this game with this lineup, it'll be the first time that I think he's got it wrong. So far this season, and I think he got it wrong. And I think he got it wrong against Fulham, and I think he got it wrong in the closing stage against Fulham, and I think he got it wrong in this game against Ipswich. It is not, like, they have the ability to score goals against you, and we made changes for the sake of making changes to give squad players minutes, and it's cost us points, again.
Were you annoyed at Hutchinson for celebrating like that?
Not really.
Well, you got annoyed at Kai Havertz. You were very annoyed at Kai Havertz for celebrating, but you're not annoyed at Hutchinson.
But also, there's a difference between shushing and doing a backflip.
Yeah, surely that's worse.
No, but also
a
like
little shush. He's also like, I want you to Champions League, and you're booing me. What's the matter with you? Hutchinson, he's there doing a double flick flack pirouette, and you're not even bothered.
Yeah, but he was never really like a Chelsea player. Like, do you know what I mean? He never really played any minutes for us or like really got in squad. So it doesn't really bother me. Okay. Yeah. All right. Delap looked good. Hopefully he'll be at Stamford Bridge at some point in the next 4 weeks, if not 6 months.
Playing for Man City, probably. They've got a buyback clause on him. He looks really, really good. He's looked good all season, and he's playing in a relegation fighting team. Yeah. I really like Delap. I really like Hutchinson as well. He also played for Arsenal Hutchinson went to Chelsea from Arsenal. I really love Hutchinson. And it was really great to see them combine it. Yeah, can see them combining really well. I thought, Ipswich changed their keeper as well. So they dropped Muric and brought in the geezer that had got them there from League One, and he was fantastic actually.
Yeah,
he had a really good game. Because actually on another day, I keep saying that on another day, Palmer gets 2 goals. Palmer was fantastic in game. It's millimeters of him scoring a brace. And then that's just the way it goes. But what do you look at it now? Because obviously, Chelsea 2 or 3 games ago, you're going, we're not in a title race, but secretly you thought you were. So what are you thinking now? Like, where's your assessment now? Because obviously it's still great from what you thought was going to happen at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, it is. And I'm still happy with where we are. Like 4th at this point, 10 wins, 4 losses is still a really nice place to be. We need, of course, to start getting back to winning ways like we were before. I really hope he learns his lesson from this game. Like the issue is we don't really have midweek games now for quite a long time. And the only one we have is like Southampton at home. So he'll probably do it again then and he won't get found out. But I hope he's learned his lesson. And I hope we look at doing something with Nkunku because he is a very talented footballer who has never done it really for us. And I don't know where he fits in as well. He feels like a real problem at the moment because he wants to leave. Well, he wants more minutes. So we're trying to give him more game time so he doesn't leave. But he's bad when we give him game time. So then that doesn't mean we want to play him. But then he gets more annoyed because he's not playing. So then he wants to leave more. And it's just a vicious circle that like, well, you're not good enough when you come on the pitch. Like we have this young Spanish striker called Mark Gui, who's much better than him when he gets minutes. But because Nkunku's kicking up a fuss, he's getting in the team. João Felix as well wasn't great. So, I mean, I'm happy to, bury it. You have these performances. It's a shame that 3 of them really have come on the bounce, which is when it starts to become a little bit concerning. But I mean, at the beginning of the season, it was always top 4, right, for us. And if we can get top 4, top 5, depending on what we need, that's always the aim. And probably was a bit of a reality check that is the aim for this season, right?
And also, in another season, you don't have Liverpool who are on for like a 99-point season.
Yeah.
Usually if they're 5 points less than this, you're still looking at it going, wow, they're only 4 points off top or something like that. So I still think Chelsea are doing very well. And yes, it's just coming a bit of a clump of games. But they've got a good fixtures coming up. Like FPL wise, I've got triple. I think you have as well. Jackson, Enzo, and Palmer. Are you confident with those 3 going forward?
I still like all 3 of them. I never feel entirely comfortable having 3 players from the same team, particularly in attack. So I might eventually look at selling Enzo at some point, but I don't mind it. Like, I'm playing them all this weekend away at Palace. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, should we move on to Palace, who beat
Let's move on to Palace.
2-1. What did you make of this one?
I mean, it could have been 4-5-1. The scoreline massively flattered Southampton. They went 1-0 up early on from sort of a bit of a ricochet in the box, and it falls to Dibbling, who puts it in. Absolutely fine finish. But then from then on, it's Southampton creating a lot of chances. A lot of chances. I'm actually surprised, though, that the first Palace goal stands. You know how like Ben White always used to get in trouble for pulling on goalkeepers? And there's been so much recently about just like if you're anywhere near the goalkeeper, it's a foul. I'm really surprised that they gave this goal because he is clearly leaning and his arm is all over Ramsdale. So I'm really surprised that goal was given, but they absolutely deserved it. Eze did a classic Eze goal. He doesn't seem to score from inside the 6-yard box. He scores from outside the penalty area more often than not and absolutely banged it in. And then, there were just loads of chances they could have finished. Sarr had one, Munoz had one that was cleared off the line. Yeah, it was a good performance from them. They're playing pretty well. Southampton just looked really bad again, really. Like, they just let up too many chances. They didn't create nearly enough. And, that's their story of their season, really.
Yeah, and they made a lot of changes. Obviously, he's trying to find out who his best team are. No, Dibbling still look bright. And, he's probably been their only success story of the season. But, it was... I sort of agree with that Mateta chance. I did think that he does clearly lean in on Ramsdale.
Yeah.
Ramsdale interests me as well. Like, what I mean... It's such a shame for Ramsdale, but like this is why he isn't playing for a top club because he makes some fantastic saves. Like some of those saves in there are world class. You're like, that is unbelievable. But then, like for the Eze chance, he just like, I mean, I'm not a goalkeeping coach, but his legs just sort of fall away from him and he gets nowhere near it. And he makes like a Hollywood dive, but it's almost like embarrassing. Like I don't know. I know Ramsdale says he can't concentrate for more than about 10 minutes, but
he also. He loves like the show of it as well. Like he's always in there like shouting, running around, and I'm like, just have a bit of composure at times.
I just don't think he does. But I don't think he deserves to be a relegation team.
No,
I think he could be. I think he'd be amazing at Chelsea with what you've got. But I don't think he's at that level. I think he's got some fantastic saves in him, but he's probably more that sort of Bournemouth, that Fulham. They love ex-Arsenal players. So, not good. Not good. They're going down. Palace back on form and
looking pretty good.
Looking pretty good.
Let's go back to the top of the table then. Everton 0, not them, of course. Nottingham Forest 2. They continue their
5
march.
On the bounce, is it?
I think so. 5. The only team in the Premier League to win all of their last 5 games, I think, I'll put as well.
5 on the bounce.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Like Everton are this notorious team who are really difficult to break down. Both you and I have learnt that the hard way over the past month. And Nottingham Forest made it look pretty easy. They created their first goal, I think to say, is so nice. The link up between Alanga and
the Chris Wood one.
Yeah, the Chris Wood one. And then the Chris Wood dink over Pickford is so nice. It's just one of those goals that's just like simple, but brings such joy to watch it. And Everton just didn't have nearly enough going forward. Their story of their season. And then if they don't have it going forward and then they do leak chances, they'll lose games. And Gibbs White, I think Gibbs White I've been at times where I've doubted him because his goal output's not good enough. both in terms of scoring goals and getting assists. But over the past month, he's really, really ticking into gear and he's starting to look really good. So interesting to see, again, if he keeps up that form. Because if he keeps up the form and Chris Wood does, like they could, I mean, they are there now and they will continue to be there, I think. But Everton, yeah, not great from them. There is starting to be a little bit of pressure mounting on Sean Dyche now.
The thing is for Nottingham Forest is that, much like Newcastle, they play into the strengths of Chris Wood and Newcastle play into the strength of Isak. And you don't really see that with other teams. You saw it at Man City last season and the season before with Haaland, but you don't really see that with other teams. So like, I look at Chris Wood and I just go, well, he's not like a Premier League top scoring centre forward, surely. Yeah. But they everything is directed towards him, and so he's a great finisher.
Yeah.
It sort of reminds me a little bit of like Harry Kane. You just there's an inevitable that Chris Wood is going to still score another 10 goals for the rest of the season. And with Elanga and with Hudson-Odoi and, like you say, Morgan Gibbs-White probably having his best season, like they're going to challenge a lot of teams. And actually, I look at their game against Liverpool at home, not the next game, but their next game. That's the one where I'm sitting there going, come on, Forest. Because they completely gave up against Arsenal. Like when they came to the Emirates, they literally went, oh, well, we're not going to try for anything here. But maybe they could get something against Liverpool at home. Maybe.
It can't. Depends. I suppose. What are Forest thinking? What do you think's going on in the Forest dressing room and Forest boardroom? Like, of course, they come out after the games and they say, "Oh, well, we're just trying to win games. We take it game by game, etc., etc." But like, what do you think they actually think? Like, what do you think they're hoping for this season now? Like, are they looking at Liverpool? Are they looking at you, or are they still looking at maybe Bournemouth, Fulham?
They're looking at European football, right? Obviously, right now, how many points have they got? They've got 37 points, right? You're not, obviously they're not going to get relegated, but you've got 37 points halfway through the season. Now, you've got to be looking at that going, we could finish in the top 8 and that'll give us conference football if we finished 8th. But because of the, if they go down to 8 places. So really, you've got to be looking at, that's the worst case scenario is they finish 8th. And I think they'll be secretly thinking, maybe if Man City just keep ballsing it up the way they have, maybe there's a chance we could sneak into the top 5. Maybe. I don't think they will.
But I love how they're only sneaking into it. Yeah, they're more on form than most of the other teams.
I know, but that's like judging any team after a 5-game period. I'm judging them for the last 3 years, and I don't think Forest
but like at what point this season is it not going to be? Oh, like maybe they'll do it. Like at what point with the Leicester season, right? At what point did people stop being like, oh, they'll fall off, oh, they'll fall off, oh, they'll fall off? At what point did that mentality change? And at what point is the mentality going to change with Forest?
Well, I just think it's at the moment they're still outperforming XG, and then you know that eventually if they can't convert all those chances, then it doesn't go their way. I'm not saying they're not going to finish in the top 5, but realistically, Chelsea and Newcastle and Manchester City are going to finish above them, surely. But maybe not. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe not. It was good, and it's good to see. So shall we move on to 2 of the best teams, I think, the big surprises of the season, Fulham and Bournemouth, 2-2. Desmond.
Yeah. I mean, this is actually, the scoreline flatters Fulham quite a lot. They're playing this sort of back 5 system at the moment because they've got no Smith Rowe and they've got no Sander Berge, and their 3 centre-backs are playing pretty well. But I don't think it allows them to create nearly enough chances with it at the moment. Bournemouth were really good in this game, and they created actually more than the scoreline makes it out to be. So I was really impressed with Bournemouth. Django Atara at the moment, it just seems like a man possessed with the amount of goals he's scoring, and he's the last minute man. It's like Jota at Liverpool. They've now got Django Atara at Bournemouth, who just pops up in the last minute and just scores goals for them. So really impressed with that. I thought Semenyo and Evan Nilsson had a really good game. Evan Nilsson is funny. He feels like one of those strikers, and I think Jackson is probably the same, where the less amount of touches you have, the better. The more times you touch the ball, the more you overthink a chance and the less likely you are to score it. And when he just gets a...
Theo Walcott syndrome, this.
You just get a chance. Don't swing at it.
Don't let him think. Yeah.
And it goes in. He kind of is giving me the same vibes at the moment. Jimenez is, nice to see him coming back. It was a great header for his goal from the corner. But yeah, I just didn't think they nearly created nearly enough for them. A couple of crosses here and there, which is I suppose what they're going to do with their wing back system. But yeah, this was really Bournemouth. We've been speaking about these two teams being like, who's going to do better this season? And I was much, much more impressed with Bournemouth than I was with Fulham in this game. There was a little bit of a controversial moment, the Christie challenge on Robinson. Wasn't given as a red. There was a little bit of, I don't think it's a red. I think he gets the ball, his studs are not high enough and his studs are not up. But I don't know if you disagree on any of that. But yeah, Bournemouth were really good. Probably slightly unlucky not to win, although Fulham did go ahead twice and then they equalised twice. So maybe it was a fair result.
I think it's such a nasty little ground, Craven Cottage, as well. So I do think that, Bournemouth will still be pretty happy with this point. What's going on with Smith Rowe then? Is he injured?
He's injured.
See, this is what I mean, right? Listen, we talk about, judging a team on 5 games. We judged Emil Smith Rowe. Like, Arsenal can't believe they sold Smith Rowe. What were they thinking? Look how brilliant he is. And actually, he's having the normal season Smith Rowe has, which is when he's fit and when he's on form and smiling, he's a wonderful player. He's the Croydon De Bruyne. But then he gets little injuries and then it's a bit inconsistent. He was non-existent in the Arsenal game. This is the Smith Rowe that Arsenal managed to get 35 million for. And I look at it now and you go, yeah, it probably was quite a good deal.
I think it's a good deal for both parties. I still think there's a good player in there. And when he started the season really well, he did fall away a little bit, but I think it's still a good signing for them. And I think it's good for him. I think it's good for his career. I think it's a good signing for Fulham. And I think it's fine for you not to have him. I think there have been times at this season that maybe you would have wanted him. But would Arteta have trusted him, given he hasn't trusted Claudio Ranieri either? So, yeah.
He has now.
He has now.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying. Shall we move on to another 2-2? Oh, mate.
This is why we predict Desmonds, because they happen all the time in the Premier League, it seems.
The players are giving everything, mate. The players are giving everything. We're down to a small core group of players at the moment.
Down to the bare bones, mate.
Down to the bare bones, other than putting in, another 17-year-old, this is the best that we can do. The players are trying their best. This was... Tottenham are playing a relegation battling team at home. Surely we should have predicted that Wolves win this game. Tottenham, bad. They have got so many injuries.
Udogie out for 2 months.
I know. And then Bentancur has come back after 7 games, gets a yellow card, and immediately misses the next game because he's got 5 yellows.
So the only fit first choice defender or goalkeeper. So the defenders who are out include Vicario, Udogie,
Romero,
Van der Ven, Davies, and Dragishin. So the only one they've got is Pedro Porro, and he can't defend. That's point 101 of Pedro Porro is don't let him do any defending.
Sergio
you can understand.
Came on.
I know. I thought that meme of Ian Wright.
He was dead.
I thought he was dead.
I couldn't believe that when Sergio Regular. I was like, guy,
is this 2018? What's going on here?
Was he on loan somewhere last season? Sheffield United.
It must have been.
I think I had him in my fantasy.
Brentford.
Team. Oh, he's Brentford. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sergio, and then a missed penalty by Son. I was looking at because Son's contract's also up at the end of the season, but Tottenham have this
extension.
They can extend it if they want to. But there's not much talk about it, which I presume is because they're like, oh, they'll definitely extend it.
Yeah.
But if you look at Son, he looks knackered.
He looks so miserable. Unengaged. Yeah, he looks miserable.
And if you compare him, to Cunha and Huang Yi-chan of Wolves, who look so vibrant, so up for it.
Yeah.
And Son, that penalty he took so long to take it. I'd be pretty worried if I was a Tottenham fan about Son.
Yeah. They just haven't planned for life after Kane and Son at all.
No.
They do not have a contingency plan for it. And
I think Ange might go,
I mean, what's that? 1 win in 5 now. They're 11th.
I think if they go out of the Carabao, I think what they don't want to do is do what they did before, which is sack a manager before the final. But if they lose to Liverpool, which I think whatever team Liverpool put out right now are going to beat them over 2 legs, I think Ange will be gone.
Gee.
And then it starts again, doesn't it?
The wheel goes round. The Spurs merry-go-round goes again. Yeah.
But good for Wolves, 7
I
points from
told you
3
they'd be
games.
okay, didn't I? I told you they'd
Finally.
be fine.
7 points. I mean, I think they've been pretty lucky. A, that the Cunha ban isn't as long, but also that they managed to keep him for 3 vital games.
It's a disgrace, really. Like he played all of these big games, including that Leicester fixture. He gets a 1-game ban where we think he's probably injured anyway because he
Yeah.
went off at half time with ice back in his knee, and he misses a game in the cup, and they suddenly are like, "Oh, he's injured. Let us give him the ban now, so he
Crazy,
doesn't
right?
really miss a game." The ban is not long enough. Like
No.
categorically, Duran got banned for 3 games for falling over, for slipping, and Cunha technically gets a 1 Premier League game ban. It's just outrageous.
Really weird, man. Really weird.
It's less than a red card.
Yeah.
If they'd have seen it on the pitch and given him a red card, he would have been banned for 2 more games.
Yeah.
Or 1 more.
Yeah, one more. Yeah. Yeah. They've been really lucky with that. But yeah, pretty good performance from Wolves. And now things are looking a little bit brighter, a little bit of a chance there. I can see them.
I mean, their
avoiding
fixtures
relegation now.
are rough, right? So they got Forest, Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal, Villa, Liverpool, Bournemouth. Like,
But they're in better form.
they
I don't think
needed
it's just
those
the
points,
fixtures.
though. They did need
Yeah.
those points.
They are playing better, and I like the system. I think it's nice to see Nori. Not nice to see him sat on my bench with 10 points. But yeah, I think it's starting to look a little bit brighter for the Wolverhampton Wanderers. 2 more games. I haven't got much to say about this one. Aston Villa, Brighton. It was, Brighton won the up. Villa came back 2-1. I don't think it's a pen. For Villa, like because it's Rodgers gets kicked, right? But he's clearly clear. Pedro's trying to clear the ball. Doesn't see Rodgers come in, and then they give a pen. I just think those are weird pens to give. It's not a foul.
They almost gave it another one about a minute before that there was another VAR check for, and they didn't give that. And then a minute later, it happens again, and they then give the second one.
Yeah, for me,
I don't know. Both were on Rodgers as well. Like, he is having a fantastic season. Like, he's got to be up there, right, with biggest surprises of the season.
Yeah,
or biggest improvements.
Yeah, I just don't. When you look at Rodgers at the beginning of the season, you thought this is going to be a player that's in and out of the team. He's a young lad in and out of this really, really good Villa team, but he's just become an absolute linchpin for them, and he just looks fantastic. He's clinical. I mean, that finish is superb. Brighton, they've been in some sticky form recently. I don't know. Did you think they played that well in this game?
Not really. Like a couple of, like the great finish from Lamptey to sort of rescue it for them. I still not feeling like they're ticking quite as much, and I feel like it's because they're missing a striker. I feel like they're missing Welbeck quite a lot in that team at the moment. They're missing someone up front, and it sounds like Evan Ferguson might end up going out in January because he can't even get a look in at the moment. I think he was actually injured for the last game, but still before that, couldn't even get on the pitch. Feels like they're missing that something up front at the moment, and they need that to help it click, to help be the outball. Like, the first goal came from João Pedro being the outball, but realistically, that's not his job, and that shouldn't be his job. So I feel like they missed that, and they have done. And since they've missed Welbeck, their form has dropped off. But we just don't really know when he's going to be back. So I'm not massively sure I see it turning around for them too soon. They've got you up at the weekend. Hopefully Declan Rice doesn't kick the ball away again, like he did last time he played them.
At times again, I saw that in the Brentford game. No bookings given. So annoying. Yeah. Villa without Duran, Watkins came back into the team, gets a goal. Yeah.
He was good. He was a little bit wasteful, but I just think they're a better team when Watkins is in the side. Like, he's just so much better at linking everything up than Duran is.
I'd love Watkins. Go and buy Watkins, Arsenal. Stop being timid. Shall we? Is anything more you want to say on that? Shall we?
No, not really. Final game. Go on, then.
This took a while. This took a while to get to this one. It was last night, Brentford versus Arsenal. Then there was a rumor of a sickness bug going around, and Havertz was out, not very well. He had a sickness bug. Now,
what a shame.
I know the thing is, right. Being in Les Mis, we get a lot of sickness stuff, right? And and people have to go off because you can't sing when your throat is infected and the rest of it.
Yeah.
But let alone play a Premier League game of football. So as much as it's easy to go, no, what, you're off because you're not feeling very well. If you're in bed with flu, especially with all this lot with kids, man, you're catching this stuff everywhere. Interesting fact. When I did a tour around the Arsenal training ground about 6 years ago, something like that. Well, it was when Emery was there and Aubameyang and Lacazette and all that sort of thing. And when every door that you opened had like an antibac dispenser on the door handle. So like as you pulled it, it put antibac onto your hand.
Wow.
To protect them from germs,
Wow.
but obviously not enough in this one. So Havertz was out. Obviously, Saka is out for a long time. I don't think we'll see I don't think we'll see Saka until end of March, maybe April, which is just grim. And I felt like I just knew that was going to happen. You know, like it, not just the overplaying, but it just felt like Sod's law. That was going to happen to Saka. So it's like without Saka, without Havertz, Benny Blanco is out as well. It's just pretty grim, really, with the injuries that we've got in the key positions. We also lost Odegaard for 2 months. Yeah. And we were lucky with Odegaard because he came back and he immediately could play 90 minutes. That's just not going to happen with Saka. This type of injury is going to take weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, even once he's back. So I think to expect much from him till the end of the season. And then... Yeah, but anyway, the game. Brentford looked more on it at the start of the game. I really wasn't impressed with Arsenal, and I was really worried. Brentford 1-0 up, bit of a loose pass from Partey. You could argue that Raya should have done better.
I think it was Odegaard, no?
Was it? I thought it was.
Odegaard gave the ball away. I mean, I remember watching it and complaining that what are you doing, Odegaard?
Right. Okay.
But maybe I'm wrong.
But then Ray gets beaten on his inside, which is people always say you should never get to that as a keeper. Well, I don't know. I think it's a good goal from Mbeumo. But then Arsenal responded really, really well, and suddenly I was like, from what was looking like this disjointed defensive performance, suddenly we looked really solid. And Nwaneri, who has come in to replace Saka. Now, Arteta came out and said we're not going to try and play the same way because you can't just be the same but worse, right? But I think that was a lie because Nwaneri is the most obvious replacement for Saka. He's a guy that can beat a man and cut in on his left foot. And he got he got 1 assist, didn't he? But it was his corner as well. So he had a set piece and he got a brilliant assist. So Saka style from the left-hand side. Gabby Jesus, he's back in form. That was a real good striker's finish. Yep. Martinelli with a finish. I've not seen him finish like that for a long time. It was on a knife edge, really, because Raya had a terrible parry, which went through his hands, over his head, and he managed to claw it off the line. And that was at 1-0.
Yeah.
Would have made it 2-0. And then 60 seconds later, we made it 1-1 and then never really looked back. And we were really good in the second half. Yeah. And I feel like if Liverpool had done this, everyone would be going, that's it, that Liverpool, that's, that is the game of champions. Whereas Arsenal is like, yeah, they should go and win there. But,
well, the difference is they're 8 points clear of you with the game in hand.
6
that's the difference. 6 points, sorry. 8 points clear of us. 6 points clear of you with the game in hand. So that's the difference. That's why you're not getting, that's the performance of champions, because it's effectively 9 points off the top. But anyway.
Well, we're not effectively 9. This is what annoys me. We're not effectively 9 points. We're 6 points.
You are. No, but you're 6 in a game. So 9.
Yeah. No one ever said that when Arsenal were leading in Man City. It was always like, Man City got games down, Man City. It's just like Arsenal. Why? I don't know why we're always seeing this like banter club from the media.
Like, you are a little bit though.
We've had the worst injuries that could have happened.
Oh, here we go.
Well, okay then. Well, how do you think Liverpool perform without Salah, without Van Dijk?
Really badly.
Yeah. Right. And that's what Arsenal are dealing with. That's why I think we'll fall away, because I don't think we're going to be able to win, which I think we would be able to do if we had our entire team fit.
How are you getting rattled even though your team has won?
I'm getting rattled because I don't think enough is being said about how lucky Liverpool have been with their forward injuries.
Okay.
And their best players are just staying fit. Like, you need that bit of luck.
Well, it's what happens when your manager doesn't just massively overplay a player who's come back from an injury twice and then breaks again. Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard to argue with that. But then I always think, well, we're not there in the medical room, so do we actually know? Like, maybe he's absolutely been fine to come back and play.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
And Timber got a yellow, which means he's out for the next game, which probably means Thomas Partey at right back, which I don't love. But Brighton up next. I just think defensively, he is like tries to control games more than anything, and I just think we'll get a clean sheet there, and we'll have enough to win the game.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's all the games.
FPL?
Yeah. Oh, do we have to? Yeah. Not a great week from me. I decided to roll my transfer. The Bruno Fernandes red card continues to hamper me week on week. Because not only got sent off last week, which ruined last week, and now he doesn't play, and Man United are dreadful, which ruined it this week. But it basically comes down to the fact that I have three Chelsea attackers and a Man United attacker, and between them, neither Man United or Chelsea scored a goal. So I ended up on 75. I did captain Salah. I did keep Joao Pedro, but I did get a red arrow. At least I had Trent.
I had 25 points on my bench because I
I
benched
had
Pedro, I
7.
benched, I benched Greaves, I benched Eight Nori. So and then obviously my Chelsea players, like you're just saying, got about 5 points between them. And then Cunha going
4,
off, man.
actually.
Cunha going off at half time. That's the one that annoys me. Like the Chelsea one, look, they had a bad performance, but like Cunha going on at half time, that's like, oh come on, man. But
Cunha
luckily
going off at
Diaz.
half time, getting suspended, and Rodgers picking up a yellow card were the highlight of my weekend.
Why Rodgers getting a yellow card? Oh, because you
Because
sold Rodgers as well.
he's suspended for Leicester at home.
But you sold him already, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for Ahmad, and
Yeah.
that's gone really well.
Yeah, I was pleased. I was pleased that Rodgers got that yellow card. But I was pleased with Diaz. Now, I've got Diaz, and do you think he's going to start against Man United?
Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm happy about it because
Yeah.
that's going to be 7-0. Yeah, look, all right. I'm about 35 points in my mini league because I still don't have Isak, although I now do because I sold Cunha for
Cunha
Isak.
for Isak.
Right,
Yeah.
I need that boy in my
Good
team.
job. Yeah.
But then I'm hopefully going to roll. Well, not roll. I've used my transfer, but I'm not going to do any more from that, and hopefully be in good stead going forward. I think there's still going to be lots more rotation coming over the next few weeks.
Yeah. That's all right. I'm hoping for a better week next week, although I'm not actually. My team looks dreadful for next week.
I don't know why you keep saying that. I think your team looks fine.
Really?
Just because
For
there's a few
next week?
players. You got your Liverpool players are Man United at home. Your Chelsea players, I suppose
Away
you're
at
not happy with
Palace.
that away at Palace. Is that the
But
one you're
I've got
worried about?
Munoz. So I've got triple Chelsea playing against my defender. Then I've got João Pedro playing against my double arse defence.
I'm benching him.
I've got Fernandes playing against double Liverpool.
Oh yeah, that is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, thanks.
You're screwed.
Yeah,
But I tell you
basically.
what, I have done well. Solo Fogs, man, Super Brew.
Oh, yeah.
I've done brilliantly, mate.
Have you?
I've worked. I think I'm at joint ninth.
What, this week?
Yep.
You
Have a
are.
look.
14 points.
Mate,
Wow.
I almost won 500 quid on an accumulator. The one game that I got wrong, so not promoting betting, but I did an accumulator. I picked 5 games. The one I got wrong was the Everton Newcastle, Everton Forest. I said that'd be a draw, and obviously Forest won. I would have won
I got
500 quid.
12,
Oh, that's pretty
so I
good.
did all right. But the winner this week was Captain Jack. Superbrew app. The code is Solo Fogs. If you want to get into that league, Jack won with 19 points. Second highest was Hennessy Jack 10 with 16.5. I wonder if that is Jack twice. Cheeky Jack joining the league twice. Anyway, that was the highest score, and that was game week 19. So I need to add an extra one into my spreadsheet. But that was game week 19.
Very, very good. Should we do predictions for this week?
Let's do those predictions.
Spurs versus Newcastle.
I got 3-1 Newcastle.
I've got 3-1 Newcastle. Aston Villa versus Leicester.
3-0 Aston Villa.
I've got 3-0 Aston Villa. That's both the same. Bournemouth versus Everton.
2-0 Bournemouth.
I've gone 1-0 Bournemouth. Crystal
Palace,
Palace
Chelsea.
versus Chelsea. I've gone for 2-1 to Chelsea.
I've predicted us to drop more points. I've gone Desmond 2-2.
There's always a Desmond in there. Man
there
City,
is.
West Ham.
3-0.
I've gone 3-1. Well, pretty much almost identical. Southampton,
are.
Brentford. I've gone for 2-1 to Brentford.
I've gone 3-1. More goals in that. We've gone a bit different on Brighton, Arsenal. I've gone 3-2. I have got them to score without Timber there. Party at right back.
Mate, do you know Arteta? Like, there's honestly, teams are getting nothing against us.
They're still scoring though.
They're getting off the tiniest of XG. This is going to be 2-0 Arsenal, boring as hell. And I reckon Martinelli and Jesus. Fulham versus Ipswich.
3-1 Fulham.
I've gone 2-1 Fulham.
Liverpool, Man United.
7-0.
I've gone 4-0.
Wolves versus Nottingham Forest. I seem to have written 1-1 plus. I don't know what.
Yeah, I
that.
was wondering what you were doing. Do you think it's 1-1, but they might score again?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they score in the 90th minute. I think 1-1.
I've gone 2-1 Forest. Forest
To
keeping it
you.
up.
6
No Matez
wins on
Cunha
the
either.
bounce.
Oh, could you imagine? Oh, mate, we could only dream of that.
Oh, that would be the dream come true.
we just take 6 points at this point.
Spurs have Man United to lose again.
Oh,
that is
it's going
just
to be
mad.
a nightmare.
11th from 14.
What's happening? What's going on, mate?
Oh, mate, it's just not good enough, mate. The players are trying their best.
We've just got no one fit and available. It's just, what are we meant to do about it?
Guys, that's the end of this episode. We're going to be back over the weekend. We'll be back on Monday, back in the studio. And
we will.
And
after a Christmas hiatus.
A Christmas hiatus, back in the studio, and I will see you there. You got much to do for the rest of the day? You've already put a video out.
Not too much. Yeah, no, I'm on it.
Lovely. I haven't watched any of that. I prefer Raptor.
Yeah, good stuff.
He's good stuff. I've got to do some writing because actually, can I do a plug? I've got my solo comedy show, Gritty Police Drama, the one-man musical, now with extra grit, is coming back to London after a sold-out run at the Soho Theatre last year in April, and then a sold-out run in Edinburgh the summer before that. It's back in Soho at the Phoenix Arts Club. For 2 dates at the moment, which is the 16th of February and the 23rd of February.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you down there. It's a 4 and 5 star show, always been selling out well, and it's a lot of fun, but I've got to write some new stuff for that and write a new trailer, which is a bit stressful, but I've got to do that. But I would love some of our listeners to come along to that. Tickets at lukekempner.com.
Oh, you've got your own website. Look at you.
Cool, you have to, mate. You have to these days. Guys, thank you very much. We shall see you on Monday. Have a lovely week. And bye-bye.
We'll see you next time.